So it's finally time to finish the Queen Mary, Britannic, and I also need to make some accuracy corrections to the Lusitania. I'll be doing the ships in the order that they entered service in, so Lusitania is first. Over the first class lounge, Lusitania had a half-barrel skylight instead of a dome like on Mauritania, so I must replace the skylight cover to shape a barrel. This also means increasing its size. I simply made this using paper, because it's the easiest material to bend. And I used plastic in the center to support the shape. I also needed to do a slight correction to the paint scheme. There should be a white line breaking the red anti-fouling paint and the black paint of the hull. This is for standard Cunard colors. At the bow of the A-deck, Lusitania's superstructure stretched out a little bit further than on Mauritania, so on Mauritania the wheelhouse actually overhangs the A-deck superstructure. On Lusitania this is not the case, so I used clay to correct this. With all of that said and done, I went back to making details on the first class lounge skylight cover. Once when that was said and done, I test fitted it to make sure it went on properly, and it did, and then I painted it rust to go along with the rest of the superstructure. On the Mauritania, the water break stretched back further on the hull than it did on Lusitania, so I cut it down to the proper size. Near the stern of the first class A-deck, there should be a stairwell cover that comes up out of the side of the first class smoking room. I had to add these using paper. With these corrections having been done, it's time to move on to the Britannic. Here I added the compass platform. Now you notice that I've already placed the gantry davits on. I had actually made 5 different sets of these gantry davits, and they were quite complicated, so I ended up just going with toothpicks as I was told to calm down on the details for something, and the gantry davits ended up being that. And that was all that needed done on the Britannic. Now we're going to move on to Queen Mary. The Queen Mary basically needed a lot of ventilation shafts added and a few structural details here and there, such as the water room just aft of the wheelhouse. The kit was very creative when it did the skylights for all of the rooms that needed them, as each skylight was its own independent piece. The aft docking bridge actually had a poor fit, so I had to make some adjustments off camera so it would fit in properly. With the last of the ventilation shafts added, it's time to go and do rigging, as these will bring the ships to life. Since I'm asked in rather large abundance what stretched sprue is, this is what stretched sprue is. I literally take the sprue and I melt it over a candle, then I pull it apart and voila, you have stretched sprue. This is good for rigging on funnels in particular. Now, I will not lie, rigging the Queen Mary's funnels was the worst part of the build, without a question in my mind. It's a lot like Lusitania, where you have about halfway up the funnel a layer of rigging, and then you go up further to 3/4 of the funnel and you have another layer of cables going down, so these funnels are very well supported. But Queen Mary has even more of these cables than the Lusitania, with a total of 16 cables attaching to one funnel. It took me 3 hours to do. All in all, the rigging process took me about 8 hours between the two ships. Well, if you have enjoyed this video, why not subscribe and leave a comment down below, and have a wonderful day.